Okay, I have a secret. I'm a trainer who does not typically enjoy training. Okay, so hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. Have you ever been in a training class and you are sitting there thinking, like, for real, I have so much work to do? Like, emails are blowing up, deadlines are quickly approaching, and this is how I'm going to spend 4 to 8 hours of my day. Like, who has time for this? My name is Jennifer Mitchell Early. I help individuals and teams achieve organizational and personal success. And this is Leadership Matters. So, today I want to talk to you about the best training I have ever attended. And I want you to think about the best training that you've ever attended, because this is what, um, this is the difference between people coming to your class, dragging their feet, humdrum, complaining, not participating, versus people who, when they see your name, they want to sign up. If you're doing this if you're doing this, contracting your services, this is what keeps your clients calling you back. This is what keeps them keeping you on their role as an instructor, as a facilitator, as an instructional designer, all of that. For me, I have been fortunate enough to go to or attend some really, really great training. One of which was my ProSci training in Chicago. That was the best training I have ever attended. I mean, as someone who gets, because I'm in the profession, it's easy to pick apart. Let me just be honest. It's easy to evaluate training while I'm in the midst of it. Evaluate the facilitation, evaluate the level of engagement for the class, the level of engagement for myself. Look ahead in the guides, assume what's coming next. I'm sure many of you have been there, right? Some of you have had really, really great experiences, and that's why you want to go into the field of training and development, which is why you want to be a facilitator. A lot of people, go to training, they think, man, this is really fun. I had a great time. I was engaged. I was able to participate with other, people in my class and learn from each other. And boy, this seems like it would be a really fun job to play games and talk to people all day long. Now, we've already talked about in my videos that what you see is the end result, is the culminating activity of a lot of times months of work, months of preparation, months of going through the feedback process and applying feedback and getting, various input from various levels in an organization. Sometimes piloting a program, running it and getting a feedback and applying that. So what you see is not as straightforward as it appears to be. But beyond that, because all of that work has been put into the program, that's what makes it so enjoyable. That's what makes it so worthwhile. That's what makes it so beneficial. That's what allows people to take so much away from it. So when I think about that ProSci training, what made it so great was the fact that they used not your usual Jeopardy games and things and role plays. I mean, God, how many role plays can we do in our career before we're like, you got to be freaking kidding me? It was the fact that we went bowling, and something that appeared to be an extracurricular activity really played into the ProSci and AdCar methodology. It was something that we harkened back to when we were in class, and you didn't even realize that you were learning. I mean, we were all trainers, right? We had all been in the industry for some time, or we had all been, I shouldn't say trainers, but I was a trainer. A lot of people have been in their change role because ProSci is a change practitioner program, but had been in their program for some time. And even they didn't realize that it was everything that was set up was geared to change our behaviors and the way that we thought about communication from the top to the bottom and getting buy-in and all of that, which is what is the fundamental um, is the basis for the ProSci program and certification and change management philosophy. So I was like, and maybe I was blown away, come to think about it, because I am a trainer and because I am a learning and development consultant and because I have been doing it for 20 years. So when people can do things outside the box as creative and get everybody engaged and we're having fun, that's the biggest thing. I say that in every class. Like when I come in, I have never been to Vegas. I know that's a sad and sorry shame, but I have never been to Las Vegas, but I surely conduct my class like we in Vegas. The first thing I say is, I believe that you get out of a program and life in general what you put into it. So the first thing I tell my participants is, I'm a facilitator. I help you along this learning journey, but what you get out of it is what you put into it. I'm just here to facilitate the process, the learning process. But I also believe the more fun that we have, the more the freedom that we have to be open, to be honest, to provide a climate and an atmosphere of trust where we can really, I do a lot of leadership classes. I've got a lot of trainers. I've got a lot of managers and leaders who come with, who want to discuss sensitive issues. And in order to do so freely, have to know that what happens in my classroom stays in my classroom, much like Vegas. What happens in Vegas, they say, stays in Vegas. What happens in my classroom stays in my classroom. And I'll give an example in another video about sensitive situations in training and how to, maintain control in that process as a facilitator. But as it relates to, good facilitation and good training programs that you've been to, I really would want you to think about, what made that training stick out? What made that training good? What made that training effective? And most importantly, what made you think that training was valuable enough to give your time to? And would you give time to a program facilitated by that person or a topic along the same lines of that topic again in the future? For those of you who want to go into training and development, who expressly want to be or specifically want to be facilitators, that's what, people want someone who really, like teachers in pre-K. They can tell when you care and when you don't care. They know when you're just reading off of your facilitator's guide or off of PowerPoint slides, or when you really have something that you want to add, when you have, experiences yourself, when you're genuine, when you're authentic, when you are forthright and you're willing to share, the good and the bad, the things that worked for you and the things that, quite frankly, if you had an opportunity to do it again, you would do a totally different way. Those are the things that make training good. Those are the things that make trainers good trainers. When your participants know that you have a vested interest, not just in the time and clocking in and clocking out that day, but in ensuring that they understand and they meet all the learning objectives, not that you're checking them off as you go along, but that they really have a grasp of those learning objectives. They can really perform them, the performance objectives, and that they feel good about and understand and are clear about the expectations leaving out of your classroom. So I just wanted to drop by real quick because I think it's important. I spend a lot of time talking about instructional design and the design cycle and 1/3, 2/3, and classroom management. But I also want you to think about what makes training effective. In everything that's competing for our attention, competing for our time, competing for priority, what would make training in today's day, in today's environment, many individuals are still off-site or remote, what would make them, especially if your training is voluntary, what would make them log in, stay attuned, and engaged and participate if the availability exists in your training? What training have you been to that has made it stick out of your mind, so much so that you want to incorporate that in your own style, in your own training? Or if that has made you, if that's the reason why you want to pursue this as a career, go ahead and drop that in the comments. The whole point in these videos is to share my experience, but also for you to share yours, to keep sharing your questions, to keep sharing your comments and your thoughts, because then that, allows us as a community to be able to assist one another, and for me to be able to speak to those things that you're bringing, that are of concern to you, or that you bring to the table, that I think is great and should be shared to our greater community. Okay, so if you found this video valuable, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that every time I upload new content, you'll be the first to know. I don't want you to miss anything. All right, see you in my next video.